Welcome to video 6.1 in CS 1401, Introduction to Computer Science. In class 4, when we looked at programming languages, we began by looking at how computers work, and we studied this overall view of the organization of the computer. This organization is built around what's called the von Neumann architecture, named after a 20th century mathematician, John von Neumann, who helped give rise to the modern computer. In the von Neumann architecture, both the program and the program's data are stored in the same memory, and locations in the memory are accessed by the CPU's control unit. Each location in memory is called a word. In modern computers, words are usually 64 bits. This isn't how computers started out. The first big computer, ENIAC, which stands for Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer, was started in 1943 and completed in 1946. The inventors were John Mauchly, who was a physicist, and J. Presper Eckert, an electrical engineer. The US military funded ENIAC so it could produce firing tables to correctly fire weapons at specific trajectories to accurately hit targets. In other words, it was computing ballistics. And the point of ENIAC was to speed up computing ballistics, and when it was built, ENIAC was faster than a mechanical calculator by a factor of something like almost 1,500 to 1. ENIAC occupied a room 30 by 50 feet large, and it weighed 30 tons. There were a total of 40 panels arranged in a U-shape that measured 80 feet long at the front, and it had 18,000 vacuum tubes. ENIAC's memory consisted of two parts. There were 20 10-digit accumulators to store the data, and the program was stored differently, chiefly through 6,000 switches and cables. There was external memory too, but that was supplied outside the machine in the form of punch cards. So in ENIAC, the data were in one form and the program was in another form. Shortly after starting work on ENIAC, Eckert and Mauchly met with von Neumann about building a new computer to be called EDVAC, which stands for Electronic Discrete Variable Automatic Computer. EDVAC was started in 1944 and completed in 1949. As Mauchly later explained, von Neumann introduced the idea of representing the program in the same memory as the data. Mauchly said, "We started out with our basic ideas. There would be only one storage device with addressable locations for the entire EDVAC, and this would hold both data and instructions. All necessary arithmetic operations would be performed in just one arithmetic unit." In other words, what Mauchly was saying was that the program would be just another kind of data. The program would be stored in memory, in binary, along with the numbers that constituted the data. Now, the first computer of this type to be actually constructed and operated was the Manchester Mark I, designed and built at Manchester University in England, which ran its first program in 1948, executing it out of its 96-word memory. EDVAC, which started in 1944 and was completed in 1949, had 1,024 words of internal memory, plus 4,608 words of memory on a spinning magnetic drum. It also had almost 6,000 vacuum tubes to do the calculation and the control. Today's computers use memory that is built of microelectronics rather than vacuum tubes, and they use 70 years of development to speed up the execution. And although modern computers can have more than one CPU, each CPU still in effect relies on the von Neumann architecture. This involves a fetch-execute cycle in which the control unit fetches an instruction from memory, executes the instruction, and then moves to the next instruction. In the next video, we'll see in simplified form how this works.